I've had to re-record this one because I accidentally forgot to do these last two commons. But here we have Bloodletter of the Scorpion, which is a 4/5 remnant that whenever a unit takes damage it survives, shuffles a darkness into your deck. Um, I buffed this just a little to give it 6 health, just considering that this probably would live. You probably won't get that much value off of it otherwise, and while darkness is a very strong card, shuffling it into your deck means that you're not gonna, have it for a while. Um, and just generally, you would rather have it instantly. So, like, I feel like you can get away with having more health with this kind of ability, especially since it applies to all units as long as this is on the board. Then there's Possessing Phantom, which is a 6/3/4 remnant that, when played, will give another minion in your hand. Another unit +3/+4. Unlike most hand buffing, this is of your choice, so you get to pick which unit gets the buff. So it's not random. Then into the uncommons we have Bloodsniffer Stray, which is a 1/2/2 beast with a really interesting ability that's one of my favourites out of all the ideas I've had. When you play it, it eats, or basically destroys, all 1-cost units in the deck and gains +1 health for every 5 removed. I realised that this effect took a little bit too long to scale, so I decided that instead it would be a 1/2/1 that gets +1 health for every 2 removed. So if you run this and 2 of the 1 drops, then you, just get a 1/2/2. If you run this and 4 of the 1 drops, you get a 1/2/3 on turn 1, and that starts to sound a little bit better. If you run this and 6 of the 1 drops, you get a 1/2/4 on turn 1, and so on. The thing is that this card is really interesting because it'll be able to kind of challenge you from a deck building perspective to be very much aware of how long your deck can go for. Uh, because removing all these cards from your deck puts you a lot closer to fatigue. So, in the unlikely event you actually start running 21 cost minions in your 30 card deck, you're telling yourself, I'm winning by turn 10 or I'm not winning. But that's like, actually a valid strategy. And if you did that, you would have a just a moment, a 220 on turn 1. Sorry, not 20, 210. I need to keep track of these. Yeah, 210 on turn 1, which is obviously kind of ridiculous. But you do have to really brick a lot of your deck to do that. But it provides you a lot of board control. So yeah, it can be countered by effects that like swapping attack and health and stuff like that. But yeah. Then there's Necretin Hunt Leader, which is just a 3/3/3 Necretin, which gives adjacent units +1 attack. So it's kind of like the Flame Tongue Totem of this game. Only here I decided that it would have more attack itself for the to make, but then to make up for it, it gives less of an attack buff, and it costs more. Then there's Lunge, which is a card which I completely messed up the text on. As you can see, at the moment it says 3E attack out, choose a minion, destroy it, and deal 6 damage. That's not what it's supposed to say. It's supposed to be choose a friendly unit. So you have to kill one of your own units, and then you deal 6 damage. And then I also realised that 6 damage is really underwhelming for killing one of your own units. Like, yeah, 6 damage is worth 4 energy, not 3, but like, you have to kill one of your own units. That's probably going to set you back more than 1 energy. And if it's going to set you back less than 1 energy, then you probably just played well anyway and put yourself in a situation where only really small monsters are on the board, so you should be rewarded. So yeah, if I remember right, I changed it to deal 7 Ravage damage. So you can apply Ravage to things that aren't minions. And if an act has Ravage, that just means any damage it'll do that's excess, it'll do to the enemy hero as usual, and the enemy leader. Then there's Bloodsniffer Pack Leader, which is originally a 5/3/3 beast. Basically, it plays another beast from your deck that costs 5 or less, and the idea was I wanted you to be able to go Bloodsniffer into Bloodsniffer into Bloodsniffer into another beast, just because I thought that would be really cool. It's hard to do, and it kind of captures that flavour of like a pack of wolves like attacking you. But eventually I was just like, there's no way I can make this balance. So I made it a 6 cost so it can't tutor itself, and I also decided to make it 2/3, just because there are some pretty strong beasts you can pull out with this. Then there's Dark Dweller, which is a 7 cost 7/7 remnant that makes it so darkness also deals 1 damage to all enemies when you cast it. Then finally getting into the rares, we have Vengeful Spirit, which is just a 1/2/1 remnant that when it dies gives a minion in hand +1/+1. It is random this time because it's a remnant ability, and if your opponent kills it on their turn, I can't stop their turn to wait for you to decide which one to pick. So it is just random. Thingy. But besides that, it's basically just a 1/3/2, except the stats are a bit slow. But to make up for it, there is synergy, obviously, because hand buffing. And here's an example of a hand buffing synergy card. We have Massive Boar Toad, which is a 4-cost 2/4 beast, which, when played, deals damage equal to this minion's HP. Now, I wanted to do that, but then I realised, hang on, that's way too strong. Well, not way too strong, but still too strong. 4 damage is probably worth about 3 energy on its own. Well, a little bit less than 3 energy, but almost 3 energy. And if you add the bundle value, that's 4 energy, and then you get a 2/4 with it, that's probably another 2 energy. So you're getting like 6 energy worth of value from a 4-cost unit without the buffs. Then when it gets buffs, it's even better. So I thought, okay, right, we're gonna have to change this. So I decided that it would be balanced if I just made it deal damage equal to its attack, because 2 damage is worth 1 energy, a 2/4 body is worth about 2. You bundle it together and you get another 1.5 energy, and you add that up and that's like about 4.5, and then hand buffing can make it better. So that's a lot more reasonable. But the only thing that kind of sucks here is this was not the intention, but this card, now that I've made it so it deals damage equal to its attack and not its health, it is literally just Dispatch Kodo from Hearthstone. Literally the same card. I did not notice that until afterwards, and I was like, oh, damn it. But to be fair, Dispatch Kodo I don't think I ever saw play in Hearthstone, so it might be nice to still have this card. Maybe it sees play in this game. Then there's Dark Cult Leader, which is a 5/5/2 remnant, and when it's played, if the minion has if it has more health than the minion in front of it, then it casts darkness and shuffles another darkness into your deck. Now you may think, oh, that's too hard to do. I mean, a 5/2 is probably worth about 3 energy, and you're paying 5 energy for this, so you're paying an extra 2 energy, and it needs to have a 1 health unit opposite it for it to work. So, well, how do you get that to work? Well, I'll tell you how. You get it to work by hand buffing it, or you could just have already casted Darkness that game. If you've casted Darkness once this game, it's a 6/3 instead of a 5/2, and then you only need to have a minion that has 2 or less health to play this against, or 3 or less if you cast it twice. Or if you play a Possessing Phantom on this, then you only need a minion with 5 or less health, and then it becomes a lot easier. So yeah, that's the idea with this one. And then finally for the rares, we've got Carnivorous Carcassor, which has gone over a massive redesign. This was the original design. It was an 8/8/5 beast that, when played, would eat a friendly minion and gain its stats. And then when it died, it would give all your minions +1/+2. Now, this card, I didn't actually have much of an idea for an ability for it, which is why this ability isn't really very useful in monsters. I just remember that I made a card called Tox Tusk Carcassor for my old version of this game, and this idea of the Carcassor is I'm not going to go over it now, but basically I just thought they were a really cool idea, and I only just realised when there's only one card left, oh, damn it, I haven't actually done a Carcassor card. And then I came up with this, because I needed to make a big one as well, because it needed to be more expensive than these for the order to be correct. But then I had a better idea. Although this is a very strange idea, what I redesigned it to be is a 15-cost minion, second most expensive in the game, I believe. A 15-cost minion that is a 5/4 beast. But its ability is that it gets to eat any unit, ally or enemy, with less attack than his, and then when it dies, it will give its the stats of the minion it ate to all of the minions in your hand and all your units on the board. So you will get a lot of value out of the card eventually. Sorry, not the minions on the board, but it gives it to itself when it eats it. Sorry, yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, so yeah, that's what that card does. And then finally the legendaries. First we have Zithal Sworn Queen, the 14/2/9 beast, which when played, you get to play 2 beasts of any cost from your deck. That was the original design, but then of course I changed Carnivorous Carcassor to be a 15 cost, and it's Okay, I don't really want a 14 cost minion to be able to play two 15 cost minions from your deck. So I'm gonna just make it so it can only play things that cost 8 or less. So yeah, now that's what that does. And finally, there's Corpse Stolen Aurelian, which is a 17-13-7 Remnant, the most expensive unit in the game. And when played, every unit on the board attacks every other. It should say every other unit on the board because it itself doesn't attack the enemy hero, but leader. But yeah, every single unit on the board attacks the enemy leader and even their own units. Now, the reason why this card is the way it is because well, I didn't think of lore for much of these cards. This is one I actually do have like a kind of backstory for, although definitely like it's rough. Basically, the idea is that Aurelian used to be like a king of the Alailons, and it basically everything's peaceful during his rule. But then people find out the reason it's like he kept peace so well, and no one seemed to disagree with him, is he actually had a bit of a power to mess with your mind a little. So anyone who would have hated him, you could kind of not full on mind control them, but he could like mess with their thoughts a little and manipulate what they perceived and all that. It's just like magic he's tapped into, and then during one battle against the monsters, he disappears and no one can find his body, and it turns out one of the corpse stealers has killed him and taken his body, which is kind of like an oh god no kind of moment. Um, and yeah, so the idea is that's why this card is making all the units turn against the enemy leader, even their own, because it's messing with their minds. I just realised I skipped Corpse Stealer. Right, so Corpse Stealer is an uncommon, I believe. It's not down there because I updated it and it moved to the wrong place, but it is a 4/5/2 monster. It's a Necretin, I think. And if it kills a unit, then it transforms into it. Even if it dies what to kill the unit, it will still transform into it. So yeah, that's kind of the flavor. These corpse stealers go around and kill people and then take their bodies. So someone kills one of these kills Aurelian and takes his body and takes all his powers, and then he basically becomes the leader of the monsters. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.